Hello, welcome to another Nezzo's Bad Shop video. We are here at the Bad Shop bench here at my place. And you are looking at the MST MRX GT on a cool hoist that I just got in a trade. Should talk about that later, but right now this is a Constructor's Digest, and I'm going to dive into the manual and talk to you guys about the build and all that stuff, and give you tips and info about what you should look out for and stuff that they forgot to put in the manual and all all that other kind of stuff. And yeah, I can tell you this car from the shakedown video, this is it, fresh off the track, and it's so good. It is so good out of the box. Like, oh, everyone needs to drive it. Like, it's just so good. So yeah, we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to point out things on the chassis, and if I have to take it off the hoist I will, but hopefully I won't. So with that, let's dive right into the manual. First thing you'll notice is the manual looks really good. I really like this. It really went to great lengths to make that look really nice. Excuse me. Pardon me. Yawn came out of nowhere. Pardon me. Okay, so MRX GT manual. Okay, I'll open it up. Move stuff out of the way here. So here we get an exploded view of the car right away, which is pretty nice. You can see everything that's going on the car in terms of what goes where and part numbers and all that stuff. So handy. Tools you'll need. These are tools they give you. This is stuff you should have in your toolbox, especially this guy. Very handy. Yeah, so anyways, if you don't have those, go get them. So first page, parts bag 1. We will start building the car here, and you can see there's a good amount going on, but just take your time, don't rush it. What I will tell you is these spacers here that just says spacer, those are the black ones, and the ones that say white are obviously the white ones. Just want to clarify that, and definitely measure or check here in the lifelike diagrams for the right parts for the right spot, because it's very important you put the right things in the right spot. And they have put things into numbers here. See the numbers, these black numbers? Those are the numbers you should assemble the parts in. So front lower arm, screw, spacer, bulk up, so on and so forth. So yep, that's that. Pretty straightforward. You might want to put, I forgot to write it here, but you might want to put some Loctite on that screw and that screw so that those ball studs don't come off. Ball connectors, sorry, they call them. So that's that. When you go to attach the lower front arm, do the back one first, install that first, and don't forget to Loctite these screws because you're going into aluminum, so that'll keep them from getting loose and coming out. It's a good idea. And a trick to do the shims for here, the two 0.5 mil shims, put the screws into it with a few threads, and then slot those in once the screws are in. It makes your life a lot easier than trying to hold it all together and screw it in. So yes, so then we come to we're still in parts bag 1, and we're here at the lower arm assembly. There, that's better. Lower arm assembly, and we can see that there's more going on here. So a lot of the sort of same stuff from the front arm. There's my ring lights. Actually, I'll put this down. That doesn't look that good. Yeah, so that's that. Where are we here? Yeah, so make sure you pay attention here for this stuff, okay, because the certain spacers need to go in certain spots. Now these pieces came stuck together with their two-piece. If you pull them off to take a look or whatever, or put the adjuster piece in there, which we don't need right now, but you can put them in. This piece here, see that triangle? It's on the side there. That triangle looks like that, on that orientation. That's how you can tell which way is correct orientation for that. Okay, so in case you get that messed up, and put those screws in first, 1, 2, and then there you go. Same with that side. And once you get those assembled, then you can move down here to the rear lower arm and do this one first. Don't forget to Loctite them all, and same with the shims here. Take time, just put a few threads in, slot the shims in after. Makes your life way easy. Okay. And then take note, see the dots on this part, the shaft bush. See that little dot there? You'll want the one with the dot, not the one with the long line, like the minus line. You'll want a dot, okay? On this one, on the frontmost rear suspension mount, this one that goes there, okay, this guy, See the dots? You'll want them inward. This dot represents where the hole is, so we want those inward so that the holes there are inward on this side for the ball stud there, okay? This side, they want them on the outside so that the ball stud the arm is pushed outwards, okay? Just take note of that and you'll be fine. Easy peasy. Parts bag 2, the front upper arm assembly. So, here we go. Assemble 2 of those, measure that in between 11.3 millimeters, and you're good to go. Make 2 of them. Shaft bush, okay? The arm shaft bush. Pay attention to the hole and the dot. Or sorry, the arrow and the dot. That is the orientation, okay? And back here, just pay attention to the holes, where they line up to that. So just go slow and pay attention to that, and you'll be fine. This part, when you put the pin in between here and here, I just took this part and stood it up end on end and slowly slotted in my my pieces here. Put that on first and then the arm, and then slotted that one easy, and away we go, okay? And then here, I did some few notes. This brace is a carbon brace, which is really nice. These are aluminum posts. Put some Loctite on those 2 into the aluminum posts. That's what I like to do. Okay, and that's that. Pretty straightforward. Oh, and this part comes from bag 1. Now, you'll have some parts that kind of go back and forth, but they will tell you what the dealio is there, okay? So that's that. Now, steering arm assembly. There's not too much going on here, but it does look like it. They're all ball bearings. Make sure to put some oil in them wherever it says ball bearing, okay? And make sure you orientate that correctly, the screw holes. And put some Loctite on that screw for the ball stud so it doesn't come out. The rest of the stuff you're screwing into plastic, so that's okay. And with these screws, I wrote be nice, so be nice on the torque into here. Just kind of barely snug them up, because you're making threads into plastic. So if you make simple threads and you don't use like a power tool on them, just go by hand and make nice snug threads, because you don't want these too tight on the bearings, or it won't move freely, and you need this to move nice and freely, okay? So just make it snug so the bearing moves nice and freely. You're good to go. That will be good. And then here, I actually noticed that MST forgot to write on this bulkhead assembly to put the 4 M2x4 screws here, here, and on the back side of the pin there, here, and on the other side, okay? So don't forget to do that, or those pins on the upper arm will come out. I've seen it happen. So yeah, 4 screws there you go. And then when you install the steering rack with these pieces and these screws, put some Loctite. Oh wait, no, this is going into plastic, so again, screw it in nicely, nice and snug, and we should be good. If that was aluminum, I would say put some Loctite on it, but I don't think that's actually aluminum. I don't think that, let me just see. No, that's going into plastic on there, so that's fine. But see, that's aluminum, so put Loctite on there on the other side, and then yeah, we're good to go. And here, this is what I meant. So you see in there, see that slide rack, or that steering rack part right here, this part. Yeah, so don't tighten that too much, okay? That's that. And okay, so here we go. And yeah, straightforward. Servo saver, which works really good, so go with it. It does work really good. I like it so far, this new version MST one. And these screws, when you go to put your servo in, if you're putting it in when you install it, just leave those a little bit loose so the servo has a little bit of play between those, because you'll want to have a little bit of play just to pop those mounts in, and it'll set the servo in between the mounts nicely, and then you can tighten those up. I made the mistake of tightening these up on the servo as tight as I could, like close to the servo as I could, and I was like, why don't it fit? And I'm like, oh, I can see I just had to move the servo over a bit, so I just loosened both, let it wiggle it until it popped in, and then tightened all the screws. We're good to go. Alright, and then down here, make your servo saver turnbuckle and the steering adjuster turnbuckle, the tie rods basically, those guys, and the big guy right there. There you go. Okay, those are straightforward. You'll have some extra screws, I noted, 2 extra. You'll have some extra bits throughout. That's normal. Just make sure you double check each step, and just don't rush. Front steering suspension install, that's where the servo goes into those holes. So like I said, leave these screws a little bit loose, and then it'll fit in there nicely, and then tighten that, and then install the front bulkhead with steering, and install all the screws into plastic straightforward, and the 2 that go into the aluminum posts there. Put Loctite on the bottom of those and you're good to go. Excuse me, install your steering turnbuckles. Okay, good to go. Love it. Now, the diff. Some other manufacturers pre-assemble the diff and you just put oil in it. MST wants you to build it so you understand it fully. And it's pretty straightforward. And I will use that phrase quite a bit. Just pay attention. This all clips in. These screws are self-tapping, but they also require a Phillips screwdriver, not an Allen head. So they require a Phillips, or some people call it the star head. It's a Phillips, okay? And you'll need a PH1 Phillips for that. Just go slow and they'll go in no problem. And then here, don't forget to put some oil on that O-ring before it goes through the shaft. And this is where you'll press bearing, the diff bearing onto the housing. I wrote push hard, yo, because MST's tolerances are quite good. So that is a nice firm fit. Just make sure you push that as far as you can get it, like push, 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 like get it on real nice, because I didn't have mine on as far as I thought they were supposed to go, and they wouldn't fit in the diff case until I just gave them a little more push, squeezed them on. Then my diff, they fit in the diff case nicely and then with nice tolerance. So just remember that. Excuse me. And yes, so this is where you install the gears with the bottom bevel gear. Don't forget to put that spacer in. You can use pliers to do that because it's tight in the diff housing. And don't forget these shims on all 4 of those gears. Not that top gear, just those 4 gears. Here's a little tip. When you're doing this part, yeah, this again, push hard, yo. Same thing, push hard in the same spot. Note the spacers and oil on that O-ring before it goes through the shaft. And the pin, you can put a little bit of oil onto that pin area and stick that top gear onto there. So then when you flip this part onto the diff, it'll just stay there a few extra seconds and it'll go right in. It's mint. And when you put this ring on, pay attention. Put this part on slowly and make sure the diff ring is sealed nicely in there and fits in there nicely before you put the screws on, or it will spit out the side. It happened to me. I thought it had it all in there. So just take your time with that ring and make sure it's on there nice. Your diff won't leak, because I don't think mine's leaked yet, or at least I'm going to check it at some point in the quick release section and we'll see. So just take note of that. Don't rush it, okay? Oh, hold up. So when you do these gears, okay, do these gears, and then do the oil fill. I forgot to mention that. Fill it with the oil up to the amount they're saying here, okay? Don't overfill it. And then prep this, okay? Then prep this, because any bubbles will kind of work themselves out of it. Prep this, do your thing, and then put that on with the O-ring. Just take your time, and then yeah, make sure that's filled with oil before putting that on, okay? I missed that part. Gotta make sure I get that. Now, where are we here? Ah, the rear gearbox. Yes, I enjoyed doing this. This was cool. This brought back classic MST gearbox memories and all kinds of cool stuff. So this is where the real FD fans will really love this. And if one of my friends is watching, he's gonna want this on his car, and it won't fit, but he wants it anyway. I don't know, but it's pretty cool. So take your time. There's 2 different length shafts here that they want. Put the E-clip, first gear, that little shaft, put the first gear against the E-clip, and then put that second gear on that second shaft. See? Now they said it on the other page, assemble it in the order of the black number. So 1, 2 E-clip, 3 pin, 4 gear, 5 the shaft, 6 that gear, okay? And then here, shaft, pin, gear, E-clip, bam. And O-ring on the other side. It goes up here, okay? So it goes behind that gear. And then you will grab the beautiful aluminum rear of the gearbox, or front rear part of the gearbox. Gearbox A, yeah. And you will take this assembled gear piece, stick it into that bearing, into there. When you move your thing around, this might fall out. That's okay. There's nothing holding that in. That just sits between the motor mount and the rear gearbox, but on bearings. Okay, so don't worry if that pops out. And then take your shaft with the spacer and put it into that bearing, and those bearings are different, as you can see. Okay, bring this down to here. This is where you install the diff, and make sure again that these bearings are pushed in, yo. I got to write yo, but pushed in as much as you can, because the tolerance here is very tight. and I like that. The MST's tolerance has always been like really really good. Yes, so make sure that's in, because mine just weren't in, like half a millimeter. Got pushed hard, got them further in a bit, and then it just, oh, it went right in. So that was nice. As you can see, there's that shaft sticking out. Okay, that shaft goes all the way through there, which is pretty cool. And then this here, sorry, so we go from here, sorry, to here. My bad, Jeebus, I wasn't paying attention to the step numbers. Excuse me. We go from here to here, okay? Because I was like, yeah, where'd that shaft come from? There to here. Plastic gear, this shaft, which I've seen before on, I think, the MRX 2s, and that bearing, put the bearing in there. Now, this plastic piece, push hard, yo. Push this, because it'll only go so far into that shaft, but push this as much as it'll go onto there, and it'll go inside the bearing. Make sure this is flush against that bearing. Push it hard, yo. Okay, once that's in there, you should see that this is protruded enough, and then take this, and this is this assembly, and install your diff. Okay, Loctite on those screws. Okay. Whew. Excuse me, I had a little burp. Excuse me, I had a little burp and a yawn all at once. Oi, I hate it when that happens. Okay, so I was saying Loctite times 3, 1, 2, 3. Way you go. Now, to finish the rear part of the gearbox, the tail gear assembly, you will take an E-clip and a pin. Okay, that E-clip will go through that shaft. Make sure that the gear up here is pushed all the way into that shaft. I wanted to do the E-clip first, which makes more sense. Oh no, wait, 1, 2, right. E-clip, that little E-clip first, it should go right on. Then that mini shaft goes in there, mini pin. Gear, these gears just slip on. They just slide right over the pins. Okay, there's that big pin, they just pop on. And you put 2 bearings in there, put oil in them, and then those screws, Loctite, and the MST PVC sticker. And I'll tell you, use the MST PVC sticker, just put it on. I know some of us think that there might be protective film on all of them. There wasn't, and I tried to peel it. Can you see the little nastiness around the M? Because I lifted the PVC covering, and that's not a protective layer. Anyways, I can always get another MST sticker, but don't ruin yours like I did. There's no protective film on that, so just put the sticker on and leave it. It'll be mint. Just take it off of its little sticker sheet. Anyways, that's that top tip from me. And there's that ball bearing that goes into the motor mount. Yay, look at the motor mount, it's happy. Yay, hands in the air, woo. And then that presses against that, as you can see, all one. And 6 screws to mount the beautiful FD style rear transmission with quick change. Put Loctite on all 6 and it won't fall off the chassis. It's one of those that ain't going anywhere type things. Okay, moving on. Rear gearbox, attaching the motor. Now I had a motor handy, so I installed it. It was actually the same one as the one pictured here, which is an AccuVance with fan attachment, and that's actually it. So, and it's butter like a biscuit. I love it. So I want more. But they are on the they are in the high level of the Robert De Niro range, which is very expensive, but they're very nice, so it's worth it in my opinion. Yeah, so that's that. Yeah, the motor's not included, so make sure you have one for it. You don't have to put it in right away, but there's that. But the pinion gear is not included. Ugh. But the motor screws, Loctite them twice, and that pinion set screw for the pinion gear, when you get it, Loctite it. But yeah, excuse me, no motor gear included, no pinion gear. I was like, oh man, come on, seriously? But then I'm like, there's so much other sweat on this car, and it does drive so amazing. I'm like, yeah, alright. So I bought a 24 tooth pinion for it, and 24 tooth, and there's the numbers, so that's what we're running with. And I'm pretty sure the 4013 diff gear, let me just go back. Where's the diff? Let's verify the diff number. Diff 40 tooth, and the ring gear, what's that, 20, the ring gear is a 13, so what's that, 4013, 40, 13. So that's the default. So that's what we're running. 24, 11, 27, 13, 13, 18. Yeah. So, and yeah, so you can run some math if you want. But that's that. And make sure you set the mesh properly so you don't strip the gear. That's that. Moving on. Upper deck. Okay. Upper deck. Carbon, carbon. Love it. Aluminum. That's aluminum. We knew that. No, sorry. Yeah, that's an aluminum piece. It's right there. Right there. Yes, that's aluminum. These are carbon. Loctite all 4 of those screws because you're going into aluminum, so it makes it strong. Loctite those 2 because they're going into the bottom. Okay, and then Loctite all these screws and screws and screws. Okay, so that it makes the upper end nice and strong. And that was really nice. Look at that. Look how nice that looks. Oh. Yes, so definitely do that. Moving on. Upper shock tower, make sure you Loctite on the screws for the ball studs, straightforward. Your links, straightforward, get the measurements right. 16.2 for the upper turnbuckle assembly, and the bump steer, which is the rear active toe. That's 2 of those, and you want 7.3 mil between those. So that's that. And then let's see, where are we at? Oh, rear, yeah, the rear shock tower. Oh, look, they did the silly thing again, demapper. Yes, okay, anyways. Oh, look, rear demapper again. Front demapper, yes. Haha. Silly grammatical errors, but that's that. Loctite on that screw ball stud, Loctite times 4 actually, because it's going into all aluminum, and those ball studs you'll want Loctite on, and Loctite this screw for that ball stud so the rear active doesn't come loose on you and start doing funny things. And excuse me, I'm scratching my elbow with the camera on it. Okay, yes, that's that. And attach those balls. Oh no, yeah, just do that. Never mind. Front axle. Parts bag 8, that was parts bag 7, this is parts bag 8. Sorry if I missed a parts bag here and there, but you get the idea. Front knuckles assemblies, yep, ball studs, and there's ball bearings, put oil in them, the spacer, and don't forget that Loctite, that little screw for the wheel hub, which that's the metal, that's the aluminum one, sorry, which is nice, use that. Here's they give you the disc brake ones if you want, and they tell you how to install that if you want, but I went with the aluminum boys. Those are nice. I don't really care about the scale look on this car, and if anything, I'll get the aluminum ones, but do that. Loctite there. Now, make sure you pay attention to this. Well, 5.8 by 6, 5.8 by 4. If you put a 6 in the bottom, you're going to protrude and put a little dot ski in there, which then you'll have to fix by shoving the bearing in or whatever. But don't do that. Don't do the little plastic dome shit by putting the wrong 5 by 6, 5.8 by 6 ball connector. That guy there. Use the 5.8 by 4, which is the shorter from the bottom, 5.6 on the top. Same over here, okay? Loctite that. Because I made that mistake and I was like, oh. So I fixed it though. I did fix it. It was not too hard to fix, but that, and then you take your assemblies and pop. Okay, install them, away go. Yep. And these ones here are beveled, so you'll be able to put them in easier one way than the other. Same with the shocks, for that matter. Rear axle assembly, can you see that? Yeah, I put Loctite in big letters. I don't know why, I just did, because make sure you don't forget to do that. And put some black grease if you like, right there. Make sure you put the set screw on the flat part of the shaft when it goes in, and you're laughing. And then that's for the shaft, rear drive shafts. MST make you assemble them. Most other manufacturers pre-assemble them for you. But MST wants you to know. They want you to learn. So that's that. Rear axle upright. These are the knuckle/uprights. Pay attention to the ball bearings and spacers, okay? Ball bearings, put oil in them. Put oil in those. They do come pre-oiled, but you can put more. Loctite on the wheel hub. That's the aluminum one. Very nice. You can do the brake discs there. They'll show you, and you don't have to, but they make an aluminum one. Very cool. Yes, and then, yep. What else? Throw a little Loctite on there for that ball stud. I forgot to write it, but it's a good idea. And then when that's assembled, you bring those assemblies down here. You pop there, and on the other side, pop. Put your pin in and put your screw right on both sides of there in the pin. Away you go. Straightforward. And once we get here, we're getting pretty close to being finished because this just explains the bump steer there. Because the next part is the shocks. And after the shocks, yeah, we've like 90 to 95% done. So I say this is about 80% when you get to this point. So shocks, they have front and rear options, and I'm so excited to tell you that there are 6-hole pistons as standard for the rear of this car, which we're into that life now. 6-hole pistons out of box. Or in the box or whatever. So they want 3-hole pistons up front, 6-hole in the back. Okay, 2 and 2. Okay, front and rear. Now, all 4 of them, you will do. Oh, excuse me. I burped and yawned again. What kind of combo is this? O-ring. There's O-rings provided. All this is provided. O-ring into the retainer. Put a little bit of oil on it, so when you strut it onto the body, it goes on nice and easily. Okay. Once you do that for all 4, put the piston assembly down through, and this just up here says, please assemble the part by the number in the circle. So that's the little black numbers. That helps you a lot, so you know which to do first. And the bottom, when you get the piston in, take your O-ring, put some oil in it, and then push it through the threads, and just do it slowly because the oil will help it go through without cutting it. Get it in there, put a little oil in the bottom, and then put the rod guide and seal it up. Rod guide cap. Don't use Loctite though, just tighten it with your finger, okay? Here, they show using pliers to hold the shock shaft for the ball cup. If you have your shock shaft pliers set, which I have, but they're not out right now, but shock shaft pliers are the best because they don't have teeth and they can just clamp the shock shaft. So that's ideal, but that's what you do if you don't have them. You can use side cutters on the top thread and put the side cutter in between the top thread. That works as well. It's an old school method. Measure that 12.5 like that. I did, and use the ball cup with the number 3. Okay, and of course they tell you all the parts to use over here. After that, I'm gonna fill it with oil. Okay, fill it with oil, and then slowly move the damper, or move the shock shaft up and down to get rid of the bubbles, or to vent the bubbles up to the top. There's going to be a bunch. Let the bubbles go up to the top, let them sit 5 to 10 minutes. They should be all gone. If not, you can maybe just dab them with your finger or with your a little bit of blowing. Sometimes that works. They should all come out. And then after that, I did these ones this way. So I installed my oil cap, the adjuster cap, into the top hat. Make sure that O-ring is pressed into this top part really nicely so that it seals in there good. And then take this oil seal and put it on there and do it on an angle down. The oil should bleed out. Just sop it up with a Kleenex or whatever, and then put the sponge, and then put your top hat and damper cap and screw it down. And most of the oil should be bled out by you putting on the oil seal first, and the rest will kind of come out of the top a little bit if it does. And then yeah, you shouldn't really have to take it off and on more than once or twice, but if you do, it's okay. And then after that, hard coil spring for the front. That's the red. They've marked it red. 2 for the front. And I've wrote some bits here that weren't written on this part, but are in the MST, the setup sheet, which is the factory sheet, which is all this. So they had it over there, but not here. But they didn't have preload. So I found that it looked like in some of these things, it looked like about 4 mil preload, but then a little bit of quick testing and 2 mil preload seemed to be the jam. So I think it was 2 mil or 2.5 mil, but I think I wrote 2 mil here. Go start with that. See how you feel. Preload for both 2 mil front rear, and then top hat here, the adjustable one. Set it at 2 mil out of the 3. Rear soft coils, the purple red for the rear, and top hat at 2.5 mil out of the 3. Okay, I'll help you out there. And if the thing jams, so there's 2 or 2.5 mil, one like that, and then that. Oh, wow. Haha. It was really late in the morning it was like 6:30 in the morning when I finally got this thing driving. I put the preload here, but I didn't put it there, and I bet I did it. No, I got it on the rear. That's the only one I didn't got, but this thing still drove amazing. So I gotta fix that though. Just noticed that, but that's funny. So yeah, I gotta fix that and put the 2 mil there. Lord. Anyways, once you get your shocks built, away you go. Install, pop, pop. Now these are beveled, so they'll go on easier one way than the other. And that's that. Pop, pop on the rear, way you go. And now we're like 95% done, because installing battery mounts. Okay. Now, if these things in red here, these parts, if you're going to use a standard 2S shorty, because this car requires a shorty battery, you can't use a long one, you must use, you need to use the first red block here to space it for length, and you may probably have to use the red spacers for, oh sorry, use this block for height and use the red spacer for length, okay, for the 2S style long shorty at the bottom there. If you got a slim shorty, which is a 2S battery and a 1S casing, that's, you use the 19 mil height insulation, you don't use the red pieces at all, and it sits in there very nice. And then use the PVC deck protector thing to protect from the battery, which is nice, so when you slide the battery in and out, that's a nice little feature. And depending on which spacer pieces you use, you'll use certain length screws, and that doesn't take too long to install, and away you go. So that's awesome. And yeah, don't put this screw too tight, okay? Don't put that one too tight or the thing won't move. And that's that. And then put your battery in if you want, and then put the wheels on your car, because these are not included. And weirdly, I ended up picking MST wheels for this car, and those are 8mm offset. And the best part is 8mm offset. We go to the lock stopper, still spinning. That's a big thing. Oh, the car is falling. No, 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 oh my goodness, oh my goodness, I kind of half caught it. You didn't see anything, you saw nothing, don't worry. Oh my goodness, oh my god. Hey, oh, it moved. Oh my god. You know what I'm gonna have to do? I'm gonna have to get some rubbery mounts for this so it doesn't move. Sorry I had to witness that, but anyways, yes. The car fell right onto its wheels and the suspension caught that completely, so bonus. But oh, I shouldn't do that, that's abuse. I'm sorry about that. Anyways, moving on. ESC in factory position, gyro in my own position, receiver in my own position. Yeah, so I put receiver up there, gyro right beside my ESC just for now. But yeah, that worked really well. But the ESC crucially is in factory default position. I really wanted to try out aggressive mode, which is down here. We'll get to that in a second. Once you're done the ESC, if you have it, if not, it's okay. What was the other thing? Oh, battery mount. Once you're done that, ESC, body post, really easy, straightforward. Just take your time, go through it, and they do a carbon bumper. Yeah, so that's that. And then, unless you're doing magnets, put the magnet mounts on. Really wanted to try out aggressive mode with the ESC off the rear of the car. Oh, please purchase. Oh, ouch. But maybe future revisions will get it. Fine, but if you do aggressive mode, this is how you install it. And I believe that's carbon and aluminum, and that's aluminum, so Loctite all of that. Loctite all of that. Okay, and then yeah, that's what you'll do. Move the servo back. I really want to try that. But this thing drives so freaking good already. I don't even know if it needs aggressive mode. It has aggressive mode like 0.5 already or whatever. But it's good. So after that or aggressive mode, the body post, you are pretty much done. It's done, good to go. You just finish off your electronics if you haven't done it, or take a break and then come back. And the rest of this is just explaining what different positions do, the caster angle, the types of steering settings you can do. This is the entire transmission laid out for you with the names of gears and how to do the formula of calculating the transmission ratio based on your pinion gear. That's really, really nice. This is nice. Okay. And then they show you a full option guide currently of what's available. I actually have that MGX gyro. It's in some of my RTR cars. I have one spare. But yeah, there's all these option parts, and here's the option parts. Like, MST really goes to great lengths to complete their stuff. You know, they really do it good. So that's the original setup sheet, the out of box, everything that's set up currently on the car right there. Yeah, except for the preload they forgot to put in. But I put 2 mil. I didn't write it on the sheet, but it's 2 mil. And yeah, after that, it is just parts. And what else? Yeah, just parts that is included. Look at carbon. No, don't touch the car. There we go. And we're done. That's it. More part code lists on the back. That's it, the MGX or MRX GT, and I damn near want to call it a VIP because it's just so nice. And that's pretty much it. So other than that, oh, you will have a bunch of spare parts. Here's a total of spare parts during build. So you're gonna have spare gear set, you're gonna have spare shock pistons, you're gonna have screws and this and that here and there, one of the servo saver pieces, rear arm length adjuster pieces, lots of stuff. I forgot to mention, this is the 1000 diff oil. Okay, this is the number 10 mineral oil shock oil, which I think is more like 100 weight, because yeah, that's that. But this is definitely 1,000 weight, not 10,000. The diff is a lot more fluid than a YD2 diff, just saying. So there's that. And the only other thing I can really tell you about is the last few pieces in the box. Here they are, the black grease, which I actually, oh, I did cut open. I don't think I actually used it because I had another thing open. MRX GT stickers. These are the disc brakes that I didn't use, the wheel hubs. Can use those. They do give you a portable version of the drivetrain and gear chart in case you want to take it with you. What's this? Those are more protector stickery things if you want to use those more. This is part of the RMX 2.0, 2.5, and I think 3.0 front end. So that carbon brace and aluminum piece here, that replaces this. So you don't use it. Some extra pieces, some tree, that's from the Diff gear set. The 1 mil ball cups that came with the shocks. Those are the calipers for the brake discs. The tools I didn't use. The spring pieces I left in there, the spring cardboard. Those are the body post things. I haven't used that. They go on there. Okay, that's it. So that's all the extra pieces. Oh, and this is part of the servo saver. This is 16.5 servo horn. We don't use that. And that's it. So yeah, Constructor's Digest complete. I hope that could help you with your build and all that, or pass it on to a friend. And yeah, the MRX GT, it's really nice. I love this car already. So there's going to be lots of video of this, comparisons, and all that stuff. And I might even convince some people to buy one, or reconvert people back to MST. So we'll see. Yeah. And I'll do a comparison with it to the RMX 2.5 as well. That's it right there. They have the same shocks and the same adjustable things. So yeah, very excited. And yes, let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. A lot of you are very excited to see this thing and see it driving, unboxed and driving. And some people said they order theirs right after watching. So if you've built yours already, like, comment, subscribe. If you haven't, like, comment, subscribe. If you're thinking of getting one, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. If you got one, what you put in it, blah, blah, blah. What surface you're running on, what tires you got, like, all that stuff. I'm curious. Because this, I think, is one of the best releases of 2022. Like, I'm going to have to do a release of 2022 and do a best of or something. This is really good. I really recommend this if you've your budget isn't too much of an issue and you're looking for something different to some of the other brands out there, the more popular brands. The one car that we know is pretty much like the most popular, the most talked about one. This is definitely one of the best of the new gens. So yeah, if you look for that, this is definitely a good idea. MST MRX GT. And yeah, more videos to come. Thank you all for watching and supporting, and we will sign this one off. Goodbye. See you soon.